Hello, everybody. My name is Benny, and welcome to The Fool's Apprentice. Today is hashtag Saturday. So last week I did 7 decks for Deadly Sins. So this week I'm going to flip things around and I'm going to do 7 decks for Heavenly Virtues. I remembered, yes, by Antonia's Bliss. And I did look down to make sure I got the name right because, this old man's memory is not the best. It's actually awful. It is my Achilles heel. But I think I got some really good decks that I'm going to be able to share today. I really, this one wasn't as tough for me to kind of figure out. I think the hardest one for me to figure out was probably the first one, which is Prudence. So I'm looking around, right? So, because my deck, let me tell you, my deck is a nightmare. But that's besides the point. So let me flip the camera over and we'll get started. Okay, guys, I am back. And the first prompt is Prudence, your most practical all purpose deck. And so I had a couple of decks that I was looking at, and the Morgan Greer was one of them. I really wanted you know, something that wasn't too flashy, Rider Waite Smith based deck that was just, uh, something I would just really use any day. And then I started thinking, what deck do I kind of carry with me if I had to carry with me anywhere I needed to go? And it turned out to be the Morgan Greer. I really, really love this deck a lot more than I expected. When I first saw this deck, it intrigued me because of the colors and the styles, and it reminded me of the 1970s. And this deck is just one of those decks that speaks the truth in very simple form. It's not fancy, at least not today by today's standards. It has a very grounded feel that I really like. It's very earthy to me. The colors really speak to me, which one of the reasons I like this is because it really does kind of give you an energy that doesn't feel overwhelming, at least not to me. I love that these men have mustaches and long hair. I just really, really, really love that. I like that they tend to be a little bit more cropped in. So this is a deck that really, really speaks to me. How many times can Benny say really? I don't know, but let's try not to make it too much. Um, it really is an all-purpose deck. I can read for anything. There isn't a question that I can't ask this deck, I don't think, that I can use to read with. So this is a deck that would be really, really good. There I go with the reallys. This could be a really good deck for working with anybody, men, women, adolescents, adults, senior citizens, just any person, romance, finance, you know, anything that you would want to ask. I think this deck can handle very, very well. And like I said, it's not going to make things complicated. It's not going to make you guess. It's very, you get a very straightforward answer. It's not something that you have to sit with for a very long time and kind of like, well, what is the deck trying to tell me? Well, it's telling you pretty fast. It tells you very quickly what the reading is. So that is the Morgan Greer. And another reason I really like this deck, because they talked about it being kind of a practical deck, at least her definition, your most practical all-purpose deck. This is a deck that if it got damaged, it wouldn't be a very big deal because it's easily replaced because it's mass market. I love the backs. So this isn't a deck that is going to stress me out if I take out of my home into the community. I'm not going to worry if it gets stolen, if somebody spills a drink on it, if a card goes missing. So that's another reason I thought this would be a good deck. And also, I think this deck would speak to a lot of different people. So, justice for me, prudence for me is the Morgan Greer. Now, the next one is Justice. Oh my God. The next one, little things like that drive me crazy. Like, why does that have to happen? Ugh. And that stuff like that happens to me all the time. So I've had to learn to kind of let things like that go. So Justice is the deck you use to make decisions. And this is the deck that I go to because when I need to make a decision, I need something that's going to like really tell me how it is. I don't need anybody like fiddle-faddling around. I just want to be told the answer, plain and simple. And this deck does that. Oh, let me lean. Oh, yeah, I don't have to lean in. But I love the feel of this. It is a deck that's very, very grounded in truth to me. This is a deck that will tell you what you don't necessarily always want to hear. It's that friend, that really, really good friend that when you need some kindness and compassion, they're not the one that you go to because they don't know how to do that. Or if you just really need to escape the world and all the stress and you just want to have some fun and have a good time and goof off, this is not that deck. This is not that friend. But if you are in a place where you need some words of wisdom, you need somebody to be really honest with you, somebody who will be tactful, but if you're not getting the message, who will just be like brutally honest and make you look at them, this is what this deck does for me. The messages that I get are very, very concise. There is no guessing on with this deck as well. What the message is needs to be, the message that I need to hear. And here, I just love the old fashioned feeling of this. The history. This deck gives me like a sense of like it's been around for a long, long time, even though it's been here for just several years. But I can get really lost in this deck very, very easily. There's like this is one of those decks that if I only had one deck to choose that I would want to do a lifetime study on, this would probably be that deck. Oh, the spoiler is a close second, I think. But I think it would be this one because the spoiler is much more of a collage deck than this. And I like that there were so many different choices and cards that you could swap out to make this kind of like your own deck. So this feels like a very personal deck to me, which I really, really like. Oh, look at this 5 of Pentacles. This is amazing. I just love this. So if there's a deck that I need me to just be very frank and honest, this is that's this deck. And I really love the card stock. It's just a beautiful card stock. The backs are nice. It shuffles beautifully. I mean, just beautifully. Look at that. Oh my God. Who's not a professional around here? Oh my gosh. Let me tell you, when I got to a point where I could shuffle like that, I was so excited. It was so much fun to shuffle this deck. Okay, Fortitude, a deck that doesn't pull punches. Okay, this was a super easy one for me. I don't know about y'all. If you have this deck, I wonder if you feel the same way. The Labanco Tarot does not mess around. Let me tell you. This one does not know how to be tactful, people. This deck is gonna be like Cher and Moonstruck slaps the hell out of you. Snap out of it. That's what this deck does for me. Really, really love this Ten of Wands. The images really, really speak loudly to me. Like I love the contemplation in this card right here. This is a card that, and this card, they bother me, but they're supposed to. That's why they're in this deck. God, look at all of this movement and emotion and power in this deck. It's like, wow. And here, this kindness and lovingness and sense of security. Like this deck really, really speaks volumes. I mean, this is a very, very emotionally triggering deck, I think. The way she uses colors and line work and space and the dark borders. And I just, it doesn't pull any punches. It's just, I love this. Look at that. I love it. Very, very diverse deck. I think that's what makes this deck special as well. This is beautiful. So this is a deck that speaks its truth. Look at all these colors, and you'll know how I feel about color. That's just amazing. So, yeah, this is from Emily Lubanko. A deck that doesn't pull any punches. You know, I think that if I'm not mistaken, they were trying to pick it up, but they were trying to get her to change some of the images, and she refused, obviously, as an artist, because this deck can be so much in your face. So that is Fortitude, Temperance, a deck pairing that you love. Okay, this is the greatest deck pairing of all time for me. When Olga Speaks and the Spoiler Tarot. These two decks work so well together. Oh my gosh. They speak the same language. And it's really interesting. It's like they're like soulmates, you know? At least they are for me. And I love how they work together. They just feel very, let me see if I can get it all in here. I might have to pull out a little bit. I just love how they work together. The images just really speak well. And I think part of it is that they're both collage decks. And so I think that energy that it carries within kind of works as well. I'm trying to get the light a little better. And the keywords are amazing for me. And Olga Speaks. And I keep saying for me because I don't want anybody to argue with me. Look at the star. Oh my gosh. Oh, ambiguous grief. Look how that works together. Look at that. Like, what message would you get with this? Wow. That is a good combination. Look how the colors work. Look at the energy. Oh my gosh. That is amazing. Look at that. Look at that. I could work, like, if there was a pairing that I would work with, and I would forever, this would be that pairing. And I want to use all my decks. So in the mornings I do my daily draws, and this is what it looks like. I'm trying to add more cards, but this is where I'm comfortable. And after like 4 or 5 days or a week, I'll switch decks. And I have been yearning to use this combination still, but I want to use my other decks as well. And I don't want to get kind of stuck with this deck. And when I mean stuck is not ever wanting to use it, but I could easily fall into that. Oh, this is just amazing. And I love the proportions of the cards and how they work together. I think it works really well this way with the sizes of the cards. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my gosh. One of my least favorite cards is the Eight of Swords in the Spoiler Tarot. And no matter how much you love a deck, there's always going to be that one card that kind of you're like, I'll accept it because the rest of the deck is amazing. So that is Temperance, and these are two cards that you can mix together to make a beautiful creation, which is the reading. So now I do know that Sasha Lopez, who did When Olga Speaks, is going to be doing a Kickstarter on it. Hopefully, it'll be this summer. I know she's in grad school right now, and that's taken a lot of her time, so she hasn't had the opportunity to put this out there for everybody. But I believe her when she says that she's going to do it. She just needs to find the time, because when she does, trust me, I am going to get the Kickstarter because it's going to come with a guidebook, and I want that guidebook. So the next one is Faith, a deck you use for spiritual guidance. Now, this is a deck that I took a year to buy. Why? I don't know. Because it was on eBay and I hadn't bought anything on eBay, and eBay made me really nervous. And so it just took me that long. I just didn't trust eBay. And that's Angel Blessings by Kimberly Maroney. She ended up creating this deck. Nice box. She ended up creating this deck after she had visions of angels. And I think this box is ridiculous for being so big. I mean, like there's nothing behind this. Like, and this book, well, it's a lot of information. Okay, the book size is all right, but I like the book guidebook, and it shows you how to use these cards, and it has a hierarchy. Here we go, of angels that you can use. But I love the size of the decks. The backs aren't necessarily my favorite, but they're very calming. It's a matte card stock. It's just really beautiful. Let me zoom in a little bit. But look how beautiful these are. Zachriel, Surrender. And these are angels, Raphael, healing. And the reason I wanted this deck is because it just made me feel, I don't know, very calm and serene, and it really spoke to the spiritual side of me a lot. And I've been really working quite a bit on my spirituality the last couple of years. And when I found tarot, it was just a wonderful place for it to start. But this is not a tarot deck. This is an oracle deck. And to be honest, I could have gone with the Mysteries of Mary, but this deck just, when it comes to really connecting spiritually, not having to think too hard about the messages, this is the deck that does that for me. This card feels like it feels like a light inside my being that slowly gets brighter and brighter when I use this deck. This deck allows me to like really tap in to that spirituality that I wish I had when I was a kid. That place that felt safe, that place where I could go to and I just needed some encouragement, or to know that I was okay and that everything was going to be all right. This deck really creates a really safe place for me. And when I feel disconnected to myself, to the world, to the people around me, to the people I love, I come to this deck to ground me, to remind me of how wonderful my life is, and that whatever is out there is within. So this deck means a lot more to me than I sometimes give it credit for. It's probably my least favorite card because it just doesn't seem to fit the rest of the cards, the images. I love this one. Freedom. How beautiful is that? So let me flip these around because that's going to drive me crazy. I love this word, grace. I just love that word. It's so beautiful. And then you get a wide variety of feelings with these. Some of them are very dark and somber, and some of them are very light and peaceful. You get exactly what you need in this deck. At least I do. So this is what I turn to. There are 44 cards. And, I find that even though I want more cards, I find that that actually is enough for me. So then there's not like a set space in there. All right, next is Hope, a deck for dark times and a hug deck. All right, so I knew it was going to have to be an animal deck, and I chose the Oak, Ash, and Thorn. I don't use this deck as much as I should, I think. It is a stunning deck, and if I need some answers or if I need to play around with some cards and I just need the deck to be really nice to me, this is the deck that does that. Animals have a way of just calming me down. Walking in nature has a great way of centering me and letting me kind of let go of all the stressors in my life. And kind of this deck does that for me. This is my favorite Three of Wands of all time. Oh my gosh. Like, this brings up so many emotions for me. This great sense of hope and excitement and adventure, stepping into the unknown with open arms. I just love this card. This is one of my least favorite Eight of Wands. It's sweet, but I just don't get that. But yeah, like if I had to make a bed of or tarot cards to lay on to sleep and settle my mind through the night so I could sleep well, this is the deck I would lay out. Isn't this the sweetest thing? I love these. These are so cute. They did an amazing job with this deck. I love all the detail within this deck as well. You know what this feels like? Oh my God. I get so mushy sometimes. This card feels like when I would come home from school and it would be a bad day at school because let's say I got bullied or something. I would go to my mom and she'd sit on the couch with me and she'd hug me. And she'd tell me she loved me and that everything was going to be okay. And then you know what? It would be for the rest of the night until I went back to school. Yeah, I just love this deck. You should see the smile on my face. This deck makes me feel warm, makes me feel cared for. Oh my God, look at that. Yeah, I love these decks. These decks are amazing. Very beautiful. So that is the Oak, Ash, and Thorn. A deck when you need a hug. Sure enough, that's the one. And finally, a charity, a deck that you would give to someone. Now, let me tell you, the Oracle deck I would give everybody, and I've mentioned this before, is Sacred Destiny. So for charity, the deck that I would like to give, the tarot deck I would like to give everybody, is Tarot of the Cosmic Seed. I think this is such an underrated tarot deck. Look at this box. This box is stunning. Stunning. And I will say that this card right here is the reason I ended up getting this deck. This card reminds me of my childhood. I grew up with the Virgen of Guadalupe, the Virgin Mary. She was in our homes. She was in my great grandmother's home. I was always at my great grandmother's house. She only spoke Spanish. And when I see the Virgen de Guadalupe, it just reminds me of her. And it just brings beautiful memories back to me. This deck is stunning. Look at how gorgeous this is. Oh my God. I love, like, let me tell you, there is so much diversity in this deck, not only in the people, but in generations, in culture, in religion. Like, this really covers, oh my God, look at that. So many different things that people could really, really tap into. I think this speaks to a very wide audience. I just love the images. There's a lot in a lot of these images that I really, really enjoy looking at. These images are just stunning. Look at this guy with the tattoos. I love that. This woman with the tears. This is one of my favorite cards. This is one of my favorite Six of Wands of all time. Look at her. Pure joy here. I love it. Love it. You don't need the guidebook to know what this card means. But you know what? Now that I mentioned the guidebook, let's see what the guidebook says. Let's just have a little fun here. Is the Six of Wands. Okay, let me pull up the wands. As you can see, there aren't a lot. There's not a lot of information, but victory, recognition, reward. Success is yours, confidence and accomplishment. Take up space and allow your magnificent light to shine. You have the support of others. I love that. Let your magnificence shine. Yes. See, look at that. I just love this deck. Different cultures all over the place in this deck. Different types of animals. I always see Pam Grier in this chariot. Love it. Oh my gosh, look at that. I love it. Mexican culture. Oh my gosh. Look at the two men. I love it. Love it. Beautiful. Okay. Isn't this amazing? Oh, look at these colors. Again, more culture there with the arts. So I think this speaks to so many people, I think. I wish there were more people out there that knew this deck. And so this is why I would give it to people. And I also think because there is a lot, and so it could feel a little bit overwhelming. I love this sun. But I think this deck could provide with tons of learning. Look at this 10 of coins. Beautiful. The tower. Look at this. This is amazing. I know I'm going fast, guys, but I only got so long in a video, right? I love this card. Sacred Masculine. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love these women from back in the day having a good old time. But this is a really, really beautiful deck. I think, oh my gosh, I love this Ten of Swords. Look at that. That's amazing. There's just a lot that you can pull from in this. Look at this Fool card. Man, that's a really nice Fool card. Look at that. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera. And let me tell you, if I had the money, I would get all of y'all this deck. But I don't. So it is what it is. But let me turn the camera around and I'll see you in a second. Okay, I'm back. I really liked doing this hashtag. I had a few hiccups with camera battery dying and something not recording and a cough that just annoyed me through the video. But other than that, I had a really good time. Those were the decks that I think really fit and were really easy kind of to figure out. I'm telling you, this is a wonderful spring deck. If you get an opportunity, Tarot of the Cosmic Seed. This is the first edition. She's got the second edition out. If you're looking for a new deck to try out, I really, 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 I love the backs. I really like this deck quite a bit. I highly recommend it. If you're looking for something that's just beautiful, something that has a lot of stuff in it. I know this isn't supposed to be a review, but I really like this deck, and in fact, I'm gonna keep it out on my desk because I'm going to use it starting not tomorrow but the next day as for my daily pulls. I just got to figure out which Oracle deck I'm going to use it with. I think I have an idea, maybe Mysteries of Love. Anyway, off topic. Until next time, my name is Benny. Have a good time, guys. Bye.